Welcome to another special episode of the Anime Match Good podcast. As always, I am your humble host, Jack. With me is my favorite co-host,
Ryu. What's up, guys? We're back again.
Yes. And so this is the podcast where me and my co-host Ryu get together, where we recommend movies, TV, and anime to one another. And we just basically talk about it, joke about it, and just have a good old time. But before we get into that, we just got a couple of news items to get to before we get to our feature presentation. So, my lovely, lovely co-host, have you seen the new Netflix adaptation of One Piece?
Yes, I have, and my God, I love it. Everyone that I see, all my friends are loving the anime right now. Especially one person really loves Zoro, the character.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, indeed. Like, my God, she just went crazy. Like, she likes the characters all, but she really likes the character that was playing as Zoro.
Damn.
She's let me just hint, she's lesbian, and she said that seeing him made her making decisions to go back to liking guys again.
Damn.
And she's
Wow.
lesbian. Me hearing that, I'm like, damn, Jesus Christ, down. Just because one handsome dude just came out and you just like, damn, I want to switch sides now.
Well,
Jesus.
Zoro's actor is very handsome.
Yes, he is. I'm not saying that he isn't, but I'm saying like, damn, you've been lesbian for years and years, and you just decided to switch just because of that boy.
Damn, maybe she's a little bi-curious. But anyways,
Maybe.
So let's talk about it. So have you seen it? What do you think of it?
Honestly, I seen 2 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Sadly, because of work. Because of work. If I had not work, I would watch the whole damn thing. But what I saw, I loved it. When I saw like the episodes, I just noticed they're crumbing down so much of season 1 in just 2 episodes.
Really?
And then I did research. Apparently, in 8 episodes, they have crunched down all of season 1 of One Piece into 8 episodes. So me finding out like, damn, 8 episodes of all season 1?
Yeah.
So now I'm curious what they have in season 1, because a lot of shit happened in season 1.
Yeah,
So,
like I think it's over 53 episodes for season 1.
Yes, and they crunch it down in 8. So I'm kind of wondering what they will tell, because and you guys remember of season 1 of One Piece, they fought the fish people that had Numi captive. They fought with the clown.
Oh,
Buggy.
yeah. He's in the show.
Yeah, he's in the show. I know that. Buggy the clown. He a boy. He a boy. And then
Thick ass boy.
And I remember they were traveling to the mountain peak where they finally met the whale as well. And then going to the town of the desert.
Yep.
And then them fighting the people of the desert.
And
like so much has happened in One Piece. Like, how did they crumb it down in 8 episodes?
Well, yeah, that's kind of like the thing that kind of like irks me about this new Netflix adaptation is I do feel that. So here's really where like I stand on it. I don't really like this new Netflix adaptation. I thought it was very cringe. This new Netflix adaptation gave me a lot of like Disney remake vibes. You know what I mean? You know how like Disney is like remaking like their classic animated movies into live action?
Yes.
And
Netflix has been murdering them a lot. And
so Netflix is kind of like jumping on this animation to live action train with their anime adaptations. And so one thing that what really irks me about this show is that yes, it's compressing most of season 1 into 8 episodes in this new Netflix adaptation. And so what that happens is that when you compress a story that's like over 50 episodes long into 8 episodes, you have to be very careful what you choose to leave out or what you choose to change. Because one thing that is a big problem for me is that I feel that the stories in this new Netflix adaptation are very rushed. I remember when I was watching the episode, well, basically like the first episode is an hour long. And so they compress the first 2 episodes, well, the first like 3 or so episodes of the anime into one hour long episode. And so what the problem with that is that when we finally meet Zoro in the live action adaptation, they completely changed how they introduced Zoro in this new adaptation from how they introduced him in the anime adaptation. And I actually really like the way that Zoro was introduced in the anime adaptation, because in the anime we find him being, he's essentially like crucified. He's crucified in this navy base, and Luffy and his little friend Kobe have to save him. But Zoro does not want to leave because he's doing that as a punishment to spare a mother and a child that he was defending, which is a really cool concept.
Yeah, because in the anime, it did happen as well.
Yeah, no. I'm talking about the anime.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the anime. The live action adaptation does something similar, but they take out all the emotional content from the scenes that they put in. See, because in the anime, Zoro is defending a mother and a child who run a kind of like a restaurant, and there's like this bully, this guy who's like the son of like the captain of the Marines, who's like a total dick to everybody in the town
because he thinks he can get away with it.
Exactly. And so Zoro defends the mother and the child, but the guy ends up like arresting Zoro, and Zoro has to spend like a month basically like crucified in this field, like under the hot sun with no water and no food. And the girl in the anime, she ends up like giving Zoro like rice cakes to eat. And that was a very interesting way to introduce Zoro. And also what I like about the anime adaptation with Zoro is that in episode 1, Luffy already knew who Zoro was because Zoro in that world, he has a reputation of being like this badass swordsman and a pirate like hunter. And so in this one, because the story is told so rushed and so compressed, we never get that feeling that, oh, Zoro's like this badass. But then, we hear like, we hear that Zoro's a badass, but then we figure out, oh no, Zoro actually has like a moral compass. He's a good guy deep down inside. And so that's one thing that I really loved about the anime, about the characters, is that, the characters aren't what they seem, even though people like say things about them. But in this one, they're just like, oh, Zoro's a badass. And, the guy who plays Zoro is actually doing a pretty good job, but I just feel that the writing really lets down the characters because it turns like 3-dimensional characters into just 2 or 1-dimensional characters.
And this is what I feel like that is not good, trying to crunch down a whole entire season into only 8 episodes, because they had to cut up a lot of information of what makes that character.
Exactly. And that's one thing that I don't like about this Netflix adaptation. Also, one thing that I really disappointed me was the way that they handled like the first 2 villains. So if
it's Bungie and the assassin guy with the clack claws, right? If I remember correctly.
Not them specifically, but do you remember in the anime adaptation, like in the very first episode where we meet Luffy and he fights like this big fat like pirate lady?
Oh yeah, her. I forgot about her. Yeah, I remember her eating the Slim fruit.
Yeah, but that happens later. But
I know.
But in like the first episode, she was like the very first antagonist that Luffy fought against, and so she was basically like a weak villain, and she was only really there to show off the audience what Luffy can do with his powers. But one thing that I really liked the way that the anime did it is that they made her like so intimidating, and her character design made her like kind of like a force to be reckoned with. And also just the way that her crew reacted to her, it seemed like everybody was so afraid of her. In the Netflix adaptation, I don't know what the fuck they're doing with that character, because
they were just standing around being like breaks.
And like the actress who portrays her, I think the character name is Alvida. The way that the actress portrays her is like so blah, like nothing. Like she's not even playing a character.
She's just going there, just getting rid of getting per paycheck, and that's it.
And like she acts like she's like she's not acting like a character on a set or like a character in a movie. She's acting just like a cosplayer. And then that's also one thing that I don't like about this new adaptation is that the tone really does not work, because like some scenes will be like very brutal and very mature. Like the show opens up with like the execution of like the king of the pirates, and it's pretty brutal because like they literally they stab him to death.
No, in the anime he gets beheaded.
I know, but in the Netflix show, like these 2 like Marines, like they stab him with spears, and like it's supposed to be like a very brutal and very mature opening, but then the show does like a bunch of goofy shit, and so like the scenes really don't connect.
Well, in the anime, there's a lot of goofy shit happening.
No, but that's the good thing about the anime. The anime has a consistent tone, so you know what you're getting into with the voice acting and the editing and
stuff.
The
reason is why it's not connecting is because it's hard to do it in live action.
Exactly, because
it's really hard to do it. So you can't really tell them that, hey, this is how it's supposed to feel in the anime. Mm-hmm. Then do it in real life. That's not easy because they're doing it in the anime is easy because you can draw it and make it happen. But in real life, it's difficult to get that same feeling. So they had to do some things to make it feel like the same. But of course, it's gonna be different. Of course, it's not gonna connect because it's very hard to do those things in real life.
Yeah, but then that's like kind of like the problem. It's because here's the thing, animation and live action are two different mediums. Like you can't really do the same thing in live action the same way that you can do it in live action. Now there are certain exceptions. Like for example, Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh, that's just a movie that doesn't need to be mentioned because it's a god. It's a place that directors know how to do it right.
Yeah, but one thing that the movie gets right, it's its tone. The tone is very consistent. You know, because like people are having like Street Fighter type battles all throughout the movie and nobody questions it because like the tone is consistent. The way that the characters portray their characters is consistent to that world. And in this world, sometimes with this One Piece adaptation, I don't know if it wants to either be One Piece or it wants to be Pirates of the Caribbean, because Pirates of the Caribbean could be pretty brutal and pretty scary some of the time. And then the way that the brutality and the mature themes of that movie, the way that it portrays it in that movie works. But in One Piece, it just feels like a mess. Because, 1 minute, people are getting like beheaded or crushed by heavy weapons or stuff like that. And then the next minute, Luffy is like stretching all around like he's fucking like Jim Carrey's The Mask. And he's like punching people out. And it just kind of doesn't work. It doesn't work for me.
Well, that is Luffy's fighting style.
I know. But like, here's the thing. It's like, it's tone. It's the tone of the scene and the tone of the episode. Because here's the thing. Because if they're gonna adapt the anime, they have to adapt it in a way where the world works, the tone of the world works, and then the acting is also consistent. Because you can't give me one scene, you can't give me one scene where like someone's getting their head crushed by a villain, and then the next scene like Luffy's like stretching around like he's Bugs Bunny or something. It's just something that doesn't quite work in live action. Also, one thing that I feel that the show does is that because it's so afraid to like be very hyper stylized, like some of the designs of the characters don't work. Like, for example, I hate the fact that they kept Zoro and Nami... Well, not that they kept Zoro and Nami's hair color the same, is that they didn't adapt it in a way where it feels believable. Because Zoro still has the bright green hair, and Nami has, like, the bright orange hair. But it looks like it's dyed. Like it's dyed, like, they went to, like, a hair salon or something, or they did it themselves in their bathrooms. And if anybody knows like what it takes to like dye your hair, that they're going to be, dyeing their hair consistently. And in the show, they're sailing around on ships and they're fighting pirates. When do they have the time to fucking dye their hair bright orange and bright green? And then like, because like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, why can't Zoro... Like, if you're going to adapt it in a certain way, why can't Zoro have like a normal hair color? But if you're going to keep the green hair color, why isn't the world more like wackier and more like hyper stylized? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because it's just like those things that just make me not like the show. And it just does not make me connect with it. But I've been rambling. Is there anything else that you want to talk about, like this One Piece adaptation?
Well, if we're done with this whole conversation of One Piece... there is some news I want to talk about, like the new upcoming animes that are coming out next year. The ones that I'm most excited of. One of them is they're finally letting the boy rest. They're finally putting him down the grave.
But before we get into that, let me just say this one final thing.
Oh no.
I don't think just because the One Piece adaptation is like recreating certain scenes in the original anime does not make it good. The acting is very cringe. The writing is very poor. and the direction is just ass. And those are my final thoughts on the
words of Jack Santiago does not affect Ryu, the Twitch streamer, of his opinions. I am separate entity. All words he's saying does not evolve to me.
All right, okay.
So anyways, back to the anime news for me. They're finally letting the boy rest. They're finally putting him in the casket. He's finally retiring. For so many years, they've been milking this boy. Attack on Titan is finally having the final season chapter.
Oh, finally? After 10 years?
After 10 years, they finally finished milking the boy.
Oh, damn. He's been getting milked a lot.
Yeah, if you can put an image, have an image in your mind of just the character from SpongeBob being shriveled up, and like, that's them. They've been milked so much.
Okay, then.
They've been milked so much, they're finally having a final season, which I'm finally happy seeing them go now. Because my God, being milked and getting trailers of the Attack on Titan final season like over and over again.
It's been quite a ride.
Oh my God, they're finally letting the poor boy rest.
Well, yeah, it's been quite a ride. I remember really liking season 1. I didn't really keep up with the rest of the seasons.
I go up to season 2 and then I stop because, again, work.
Yeah, I just kind of lost interest because what was it? Season 1 came out, well, at least the English dub came out like around like 2013, 2014. And then I watched it. I enjoyed it, but then season 2 like just took a while to get released, and then I just kind of lost interest or by the time it came out.
Well, we don't need to worry about that because it is in our anime list to watch.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to see the end of the story.
Yeah, I'm excited too because I stopped at season 2, so I haven't seen 3, 4, 5, all that.
Yeah. Sure.
Another one, One Punch Man is finally getting season 3.
Season 3. Like, how long has it been since season 2? Do you remember?
I do not. I gotta check.
Because I remember when One Punch Man came out. Like when did it come out? 2015, like the first season. 2015, 2014, or 2016, somewhere around there. Because I remember because One Punch Man was also another anime that was very hyped.
Okay, so One Punch Man came out at the early 2009. The manga.
The manga? When did the anime come out? Because that's when I remember people like losing their shit over the franchise when the first season came out. Like, what was it? Like 2014, 2015?
It came out on October 5th, 2015.
Okay, yeah, then that makes sense because I just remember everybody online was just talking about, oh, One Punch Man. It's doing everything different from a normal like anime. You know, it's breaking the rules. It's a parody. It's a satire. And I was and when we watched it, I was like really surprised like how many like conventional like anime tropes that like just like all the cliches it broke all the cliches, and that was one thing that made me love season 1. But yeah, when's this new season coming out?
There's not a specific date. It just says it's coming out next year.
Okay, so next year. Okay, so sometime next year we're gonna be watching the rest of One Punch Man. Okay, sounds doable. Sounds good. Ooh, I'm excited. Attack on Titan, One Punch Man. That's that's
searching
a good double feature there.
Yep. So I'm searching right now, and there's multiple different dates where it's gonna come out. Some saying it's coming out at August 18. Some saying it's coming out at September 15. Some saying it's coming out on August on 27th. Some say September 7th. There's a lot of people just pulling up random knowledge. So I searched the main official site to see when it's coming out, and it's saying it's coming out somewhere next year of the middle of summer. That's what they're saying it right now. Yeah. It has not been confirmed, it says right here, but it says it's going to be somewhere around the middle of summer. Season 3 will be released.
Well, actually, I think that's a good time to release like a season because you mentioned like September and August, because I know that around that time, at least for Hollywood, because Hollywood like releases all their big movies in like May, June, July. By the time August rolls out, you know, they're not going to be releasing like any kind of like blockbuster type movies. And so
it will be a perfect time for it to be released.
Yeah, people are going to be wanting something to watch. And I also think that's before like all the sitcoms come back and like all the, like the reality shows come back. So that's actually a good time to release it, you know, to get some momentum, to get some hype. But no, that's good. I can wait a year. It's just a year.
It's just
any
a
others?
year.
Exactly, it's just a year. How many or what else is being released? My lovely co-host.
Another episode that's coming released is My Hero Academia.
Yes.
They're finally gonna have a season 6.
Yes.
If you guys remember, season 5 is when the start of the hero arc, and then season 6 is the middle of finding the Deku becoming a no, not season 7. Season 7 coming out. Season 6 is when Deku become a vigilante after season 5, and then you get Deku back, and then they ended up of starting the villain and hero arc war.
Ooh, don't spoil too much because I still have to watch them.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying it for the manga sense because everybody who read the manga already knows.
But still, I gotta.
So
I gotta
season
watch
7 it's been confirmed for next year to come out.
Yeah.
So, for me, if you guys seen the manga, it's gonna be finishing off or starting because I didn't see season 6 yet because again work. So I don't know how much.
Dude, you work too much.
I do work too much. I want to go back to playing games and watching anime again. So, anyways, going back, I don't know where in season 6 how much manga they put in the episodes. So I'm just going off thinking of where they're gonna continue on season 7. I think at season 7 of the manga, I think they're gonna go off on finishing the battle of the villain and hero arc and fighting the big boss.
The decaying emo guy?
Yeah, no, not decaying. The boss was
but don't spoil it for me. Don't spoil it for me.
All for one.
Oh, that guy. Okay. Yeah.
Like, am I getting it right? Like, all for one.
Like the dude who doesn't. Like the dude who doesn't have a face.
All for one. Yeah, all for one. Yeah,
one
that's his
for
name.
All.
That's the hero. That's what Deku has. I'm just trying to remember which one it is.
Okay.
So yeah, he is gonna make an appearance of him fighting all the heroes, and that's where All Might gets his fights one more time against them.
He's the Thanos.
Yeah, so that's why I'm hoping, because I haven't seen season 6, and I've been trying to watch season 6 with the time I have. I just started watching season 6 season yesterday. 6? I'm on episode 3 of season 6. It's so good. I want to finish it. So, anyways.
When are we gonna get season 69? That's what I want to know.
Never. Because the only episodes you can get that from is Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach.
Damn.
And Dragon Ball. All right, anyways.
Come on, Dragon Ball.
Continuing on, I am excited for season 7 when it comes out for next year.
Okay. Nice.
So excited.
Yeah, me too. We definitely have to catch up on My Hero Academia.
Yes, we need to, because the last time we talked about it was...
That was our very first episode, Nuts.
Yeah, our very first episode, and we were only talking about season 3 and 4?
1 through 4.
1 through 4, there you go. Yeah, we need to go back to 5 and 6, and now 7's coming out, so we gotta get on that shit.
All right, my brother, what else do you have for us?
The one we also reviewed that's coming out for season 3.
Yeah.
The Rise of the Shield Hero.
Oh, yeah, that one.
It's coming back. And I'm so excited. I saw the trailer too. It's so good.
Let's just hope it's better than season 2.
Oh, there's gonna be a lot of stuff. It's gonna happen on season 2. Season 3, I mean.
Yeah, I remember I really liked season 1. I liked the design of the show. I thought it was a good show up until season 2. But you didn't like season
2. I'm so sad because I loved it.
Because I like the fantasy setting. I don't like that feudal medieval Japan setting. I feel like it's used way too much in animes. I like fantasy. I like Lord of the Rings, the Game of Thrones type fantasy. That's the kind of fantasy I like.
Okay, whatever. So season 3 is finally coming out. Release date hasn't been confirmed yet as well. It's just coming out next year.
What about the slime? Is the slime ever gonna get another season?
I heard that it is getting a new season. I don't know, is this year or next year? Next year or the year afterwards.
The time I got reincarnated as
But
a
he
Slim
is coming
Shady.
out. There is a movie already out of it. So if you want, we could watch that movie and we can make that a little episode.
Sure, let's do that, because I wanna see the time I got reincarnated as a Slim Shady.
Yeah, if you guys can tell, he loves it. He likes getting his slamming on. He uses it every day. He moisturizes a lot on the down regions. All right, so anyways, I'm trying to remember if there's other animes that I'm very excited for coming out. Oh yeah, there's one anime. Hold on, I'm not gonna butcher this because I do not want to butcher this because I do not want the anime community to get up my ass for it.
Screw them.
Yeah, I definitely as well. There's a new anime that everyone's like losing their shit. I forgot the name of it. I know it's very popular. Everyone's like so happy about it coming out. Let me just get the name because I don't want to get fucked. It's called Kushin. I'm gonna butcher the name so goddamn much. Here, look at this. Can you pronounce this name? It's the hashtag thing right above. That's the name of it.
All right. Whoa.
Kushin, whatever it is.
Jujutsu Kaisen?
Yeah, there you go. That's the one. I don't want to butcher it because I know I was going to butcher it. I gave it to you because you were more better in pronouncing words and all that.
Shit, man.
So, yeah, that season's coming. A new season's coming out. Even though there's a new well, no, it's already out already, I think. I don't know. I just know that there was a new episode coming out, a new season coming out.
Wow. Okay. Anything else that you want to bring up?
Oh, there is one that I found that I'm very happy I found this. So if you guys know of Ruby.
Okay.
It is in our anime list and it is coming up next.
Mm-hmm.
It is, I think it is 2 episodes afterwards we're done.
Mm-hmm.
So according of this video, of this recording of us talking about Amadeus.
Amadeus?
Amadeus. I changed the name.
You my God. Get your mind out of the fucking gutter.
No, because it's not anime, so it's gay. So
right.
Anyway.
Oh my God.
So after this episode and episode after that, and then the episode after that, it will be the 3rd episode of we're gonna be talking about Ruby. But off the chart, Ruby, I just found this out, and I did not know it existed. Ruby has worked with Warner Brothers. And
you said Runner Brothers. I was like,
I know.
What the fuck? Is that like an ice cream?
Maybe.
Brothers?
I'm kind of hungry, though. I'm kind of hungry, so it's probably...
Nutter Butter?
Nutter Butter? Butter over?
But what about Ruby and Warner Brothers?
So, Ruby and Warner Brothers worked together to make a new show of Ruby X Justice League. So
the fuck?
Yeah, that's what I said. Like the fuck. So apparently, the Justice League gets sucked into the universe of Ruby, and they're trying to find a way to get back home. So the heroes that got stuck in it is Superman, Flash, Cyborg, Green Arrow, Mansion Manhunter. Let me see. Batman. I'm trying to look at the.
Well, they have Batman. All he needs is prep time. And he'll handle that bitch.
Yeah, I know, but having Warner Brothers in the Ruby universe, it's so bizarre. And there's a trailer. I'll send you the trailer later. We need to watch it after we finish watching Ruby as a little sequel episode.
Okay.
It's so like when I saw it, I was like, "Yo, when did this happen?"
Hey, yo.
Like, when did this happen? So I did research on it way before we even started. Let me go to the website of where I found it. So it is okay. So here's a description. Members of the Justice League are transported to the world of Remnant and find themselves turned into teenagers.
Okay.
The Remnant heroes combine forces with the Justice League to uncover why their planet has been mysteriously altered.
Sounds good.
So something happened in the Justice League universe that they get sucked into the world of Remnant.
Why not?
And going back to the heroes, it's Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Jinx, Canary, Wonder Woman, the Cyborg, woman, and Flash. I thought I saw Green Arrow. Well, it's probably because of the Green Lantern.
The Flash better not be Ezra Miller's Flash. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
My dad, calm down. So yeah, when I found out, I was like, "Yo, we have to watch it. We have to watch it." So I searched out the description, and hopefully you have one of these. Max or Amazon Prime. Do you have those?
I do have
then we're
Max.
watching it in there because that's the only
well, yeah, that's the Warner Brothers like streaming service. So yeah.
Yes, we need to watch it. I am excited to watch it. When I found out, I was just going through Instagram, going through anime content, and I saw that Ruby and Justice League together. And when I saw it, I watched the trailer. I'm like, yo, I'm excited. Because the way
so excited.
The clips I saw after watching the trailer, they show Batman talking to Whis, Superman.
The racist one?
No, the front. You don't know who Whis is. It's a girl.
Oh yeah, I know Whis. He hangs out with Goku and Vegeta.
I want to fucking murder him.
Okay, I'm sorry. Continue.
And I think Yang, if I remember her name correctly, because I haven't seen Ruby in a long time, meets up with Superman, and then meets up with Ruby.
Superboy, yes.
And then they work together to find the rest of their members of the Justice League, and then they combine together and they say, "All right, so we're working together. Good. I don't need to kill you." And like, I want to see you tried. There's no need to be no killing.
Sounds riveting.
I want to watch it. And you don't know Remnant as I do. So you don't know who the fuck characters I'm talking about. So I'm excited for him to watch it.
You're talking about Whis. You're talking about Goku and Vegeta's friend. You know, the guy who hangs out with Lord Beerus.
I want to fucking murder this person. So anyways, I am excited to watch this. When we finally watch Ruby, we're going to make Ruby into the main episode. But it's going to be a subsequent episode afterwards. We're going to be watching this. And I'm excited. I am excited to watch this, and because I love Ruby and the Remnant universe. I love it.
Damn, you're very excited. You're probably hard right now.
Not really.
You're probably so fucking hard right now.
Not really. and also I forgot to mention it came out 2023. This thing, so it's been already out for a year.
We are wait
2004. We're in 2024.
No, we're in 2023, dude.
Oh my god, I'm working so much I forgot the year. Oh my lord. Oh my god.
Yeah, dude, you need to go outside and touch grass, like for
I
real,
do touch grass. Working grass.
Nah, dude, work is not real life. You gotta go out, you gotta socialize.
That's what he told me about video games.
Meet up with some friends. Go out to bars, talk to some women or men if you're into that. Hey.
Disgusting. Why would I want to talk to women that tells me that?
Or talk to men if you're into that kind of stuff. Hey.
Why would I talk to dudes if I can do that already in game?
Nah, but you need the real connection. You need to be face to face.
Face to face? I thought I wasn't aware that we were having a combat.
Oh my god. All right. Okay. Anything else before we move on to our next topics?
I just want to talk about a little bit of my girlfriend I really love, really love. 100 Girlfriends.
Oh, I thought it was like, oh damn, dude, you got a girlfriend, good for you. But no, it's just
it's
fucking
the
anime. Oh, fuck.
So I want to redact what I said from our last podcast of me saying they're not doing exactly. They actually are following some manga panels in the anime, and I'm so happy about it.
Tell the audience what you're talking about, because I'm kind of getting lost here.
So there is a manga out there called 100 Girlfriends I really love that has been an anime application out of this year.
You mean adaptation?
An adaptation, yes, sorry. It just came out this year, I think 3 months ago.
Okay.
Going off by memory, I don't have the information here. So it came out, and I really was happy hearing it came out. And I watched the anime, and they had a lot of freaking spot on from the manga, but it also changed some things. But I was very skeptical because I only saw the episodes that were out at the time.
All right.
So when I watched the whole thing, I was like, oh shit, I said misinformation on the last podcast we did. They actually are following the manga almost exactly.
Dude, you gotta do your homework. You gotta do your research,
only
my guy.
Only a few episodes were out at the time, and I watched only those episodes. And then more episodes came out. They actually followed the manga almost to exact.
Well, no shit, they're gonna follow the manga because that's every fucking anime.
I know, but I'm saying like with the episode I saw, they didn't really follow some of it. They cut some things.
Well, yeah, because they probably had to adapt it because probably like the story didn't work in like and you know, in like a television format, so they had to retool it to work.
So anyways, I'm just saying that they really follow it. I'm really happy. I'm really excited to see how many fucking girl, because the one episode I really love is the science girl, the one that makes all the fucking all the potions and makes up all the fucking shit. It's all awesome. I like her so much. She's so adorable. Anyways,
hey, whoa, slow down there.
What?
Friendship is not magic. It's science.
That is scientifically impossible.
You're wrong. You're biased and you're wrong.
No one's excited more on Earth Day than me. I am not scientifically possible.
The fuck? You watch that fucking shit? Fucking Invader Zim? What are you, some sort of emo from 2007?
I was born around that year.
Who fucking like cuts their shit up? Jesus Christ.
I'm doing the doom song. Doom.
Oh my god, you're one of those fucking people fucking grew up watching Invader Zim. Probably like fucking like cutting yourself in your bedroom and shit and listening to my...
What's wrong with you?
Because only fucking emos only fucking emos watch...
Hey, yo. Whatever he's saying, that's not a plans after the individual of Ryu.
Oh, shut up. Go listen to My Chemical Romance, you fucking 2007 emo bitch.
What is that?
Yep, My Chemical Romance? You don't know My Chemical Romance?
What is that?
You know, when I was a young boy, my father... Oh, okay, no. I'm not gonna do this.
This is gonna be a freaking Twilight shit again.
No, I'm not. Well, you know,
baby.
Well, actually,
baby.
Now, since you mentioned that,
baby,
did you know that Stephanie Meyer, the author of Twilight, was inspired to write the first Twilight book because she loved My Chemical Romance's music? My Chemical Romance inspired Stephanie Meyer to write the first book.
Okay, we're just gonna move on.
But yes, we're gonna move on.
This is gonna be like a freaking repeat of
because I don't want to get into that shit. I want to get into that shit. All right, let's go. Come on, let's freaking go.
He's scaring me.
Okay, but anyways, what else about the girlfriend do you want to talk about?
Nothing much. I just happy.
Okay, so just finish your thoughts.
I'm just happy. That's it. I just he's scaring me, guys. He's hurting me.
Let's fucking go!
Help me! I'm being captive. I've been held in my room for 25 years. Anyways.
All right. Okay. So before we get into like our feature presentation, I just want to let you guys know that we're on social medias, and so I'm just gonna shout out some of our social media accounts. So on Twitter, now known as X, we are at Anime Match Pod. On On the Instagrams, we are at... I had it. On Instagram, we are at Anime Match Cut. So follow us on Instagram at Anime Match Cut. And then on Threads, we are also under Anime Match Cut, same as our Instagram. And then finally, on YouTube, you can follow us on Anime Match Cut Studios. So if you guys want to see the video version of this podcast, go and check us out on YouTube and go like and subscribe to us. Also on TikTok, which I post a lot of updates about just like our show in general, we're under Anime Match Cut Studios, same as the YouTube. But also, I also want to shout out a very special person who followed us recently.
Uh-oh.
Are you familiar with a person known as Diana Prince, also known as Darcy the Mail Girl?
Yes, that's the one name I actually do know.
Okay, so Diana Prince, also known as Darcy the Mail Girl, is a host. She is the host of this show on the Shudder app called The Last Drive-In. She is the co-host with Joe Bob Briggs, and they watch horror movies. They present the horror movies, they talk about them, they give interesting facts, and they answer mail from the viewers, and it's a good show. It's a very fun show. And so one way or another, our Twitter, she found us and she ended up following us. And shout out to her. Thanks for the follow. We have a legitimate person in the entertainment industry following us. So thank you, Darcy the Mail Girl. Check her out on Twitter.
I'm actually surprised that I actually know this person.
Oh, really? Are you a horror movie fan?
No, I just know the name of the person. That's it. I'm surprised I know the person's name.
I almost don't want to ask where you know her from because I think I know where you know her from, but I don't want to be like rude.
Okay, yeah, let's just move on.
Okay. All right. So let's get into our feature presentation. Well, my lovely co host, do you know what we're going to be talking about this episode?
Yes, we are.
We're going to
And
be.
you say the name because my track record of butchering people's names and any name titles or anything is so freaking huge. Just
All
say the
right.
name, please.
Okay. So today we're going to be talking about the 1984 Best Picture winner, Amadeus. Amadeus, Amadeus.
Hey, what's up, my Amadeus? How you doing, my Amadeus?
Yes, we're going to be talking about Amadeus, the 1984 movie about the rivalry between Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and the core composer of the Austrian king, Salieri. So, my lovely co-host, have you ever seen the movie Amadeus before this viewing?
No, I have not. This is the first time I've ever seen Amadeus.
So before we really get into it, let's give our quick thoughts about the movie. So without, you probably guessed it. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I really enjoy this movie. I think it's a near perfect movie. The acting, the directing, the writing, the way that they use Mozart's music is so great. This is one of my favorites of all time. But I'm very curious to hear what you think about it. What do you think about this masterpiece?
I thought it was very nice. I really liked the whole thing. It's very beautiful, honestly, but very sad.
Beautiful and sad. Those are the two words that I would use to describe this movie. Yes, it's very beautiful and sad. But before we really get into it, let's just give the audience a little bit of context what this movie's about. So this movie, Amadeus from 1984, it stars F. Murray Abraham as Salieri, who was the core composer of the King of Austria. And he had a rivalry with Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. And you, my lovely co-host, do you know anything about Mozart before watching this movie?
No, I do not.
Well, very interesting is that Mozart has this reputation of being like a child prodigy. He was known as the boy genius of music of his time. And so Salieri, he's this guy in the movie who is the core composer to the King of Austria. And he is somebody who worked his way up to be in the position that he's in. And he hears about Mozart. He hears about Mozart when he was younger. And Mozart was the inspiration for him to learn to become a composer. And so when he finally meets Mozart, he sees that Mozart is this like spoiled, immature, like man child who was given like this divine gift of music. And Salieri becomes super jealous of him because people just recognize his genius and his talent, and Salieri is just seen as this mediocre musician. And so Salieri becomes so consumed with destroying and besting Mozart that it ends up inevitably destroying his own life. And so that's what basically like the movie is about.
It's very sad because the man didn't deserve that.
Yeah,
honestly.
And true. Because this movie is a tragedy, and so it does have a very sad ending. But spoilers, by the way, spoilers.
It's been out for years.
It's definitely, well, actually, yeah, it's been out for years, and it's also based on a true story. So how can you really spoil it, to be honest?
Exactly. So don't be bitchy about it.
All right, so let's talk about it. So Amadeus. So Amadeus, it follows the story of Salieri. Salieri is jealous of Mozart, and Salieri uses his political and his professional influence to sabotage Mozart throughout the whole movie. But also at the same time, Mozart is going through his own turmoils, his own inner turmoils, because again, he is like this very like immature, almost like a rock star type character who just can't handle his fame and can't handle his genius. And so we see his downfall. So this is kind of like a rise and fall story at the same time. But you, my co-host, what did you think about like the portrayal of Mozart? Were you surprised on how the movie portrayed Mozart as a character?
For me, I really didn't know much of Mozart except for he made music. But honestly, I never heard none of his music at all.
Really?
Until we watched this movie.
Were you recognizing like classic pieces of music throughout the way?
I was, especially one famous meme that was been popular for over a long time. I think it died down now because I haven't seen it for a long time.
Do you mean?
That's there.
Oh, you know it. You know it so well. You can time. You know the rhythm of the meme.
Yes, I do. I love it. The second I heard it in the movie, I didn't realize it right away because of the beginning part, because he only used a small segment of it.
A small segment, yeah.
So when I heard the music the first time, I was like, it sounds familiar. And then when it went to the note that I was familiarized, I was like, oh, that's the meme. That's the song in the meme. And then you didn't realize it neither. Like, meme? What meme? You know that meme with the penguin going newt newt? And then when you heard it, you're like, all right, it's used. That is the meme.
Yeah. And you know, that really fits well with like the story that the movie's trying to tell, because like in the movie, like at the beginning of the movie, we see Salieri as an old man, and in the movie he tries to commit suicide at the very beginning.
Yeah, because he felt guilty of killing
Mozart. Yeah. And so he commits suicide by trying to slit his throat, and then his servants end up sending him to an insane asylum. And at the beginning of the movie, a priest comes into the insane asylum the morning after his attempt. And so Salieri ends up telling his whole life story basically to the priest. But also before he tells the story, he plays the priest some music on his piano. And the priest does not know anything about Salieri's music. But then when he starts playing that famous dun, 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 and then the priest starts like humming to himself, and he's like, and then he's like, wow, that is so charming. I didn't know you wrote that. Exactly. And so that's kind of like the theme that the movie is using, is that Mozart's music lives on past his death, and even still today people are using his music like in memes, but
in music reels, everything. And nobody, I think most of them knew the music who made it, but some of them just use it because it's popular and it's all trendy now.
Exactly. Yeah. But also I remember as a kid, I remember watching a lot of like old Disney cartoons and old Looney Tunes cartoons, and especially old Looney Tunes cartoons would use a lot of like classical music in their cartoons, because I've heard that the directors of those old Looney Tunes cartoons were very much into classical music and opera. And so just me as a kid, I just got like this whole like education on classical music by just watching old Looney Tunes. And also my favorite Disney movie is Fantasia, and Fantasia is all classical music being animated. And so I've had like, say, like a healthy like dose of classical music. So I have like some familiarity with like, you know, Mozart, Johann Sebastian Bach, Beethoven, and all these musicians. So I think that's one of the things that makes this movie so like popular, is that yes, Mozart's music is still being used to this day. Maybe not in the way that it was intended to be used, but it's being still used in many ways. But also let's talk about the actors. So I mentioned before that you didn't know anything about the portrayal of Mozart, or you didn't know much about Mozart. Were you surprised that they portrayed him as kind of like this wild, like crazy, almost rock star kind of guy?
Yeah, the second I saw him, like, this guy is just going crazy. Like, I thought people back in the day were more proper, more in what's it called?
Yeah, you're thinking like very like Victorian.
Yeah,
like
there
very,
you go, Victorian.
Like very well mannered. That kind of presentation.
But when I saw the presentation of Mozart, him being like a rock star kind of personality, I was like, damn, I didn't know he had that kind of thing.
Well, because actually a lot of people think that was created for both the play and the movie, because actually this movie is based on a play. I believe the writer of the play is named Peter Schaefer, and he created this play for Broadway. But a lot of people think that the reason why Mozart is this wild and crazy guy is because that was created for the movie. But in reality, Mozart, like as a person, he was like this kind of like wild and vulgar guy. He was this wild and vulgar guy who would like, you know, write songs with like the word shit in it and stuff like that. And so, you know, he was pretty crazy. He was pretty vulgar. He was a bit of a wild man and a party animal. Because actually in the movie, they portray Mozart's death, because Mozart ended up drinking himself to death. And, you know, he didn't die of drinking because he was drinking tea. He was, you know, drinking hard liquor and stuff like that. And so and I think it really surprises people to see the way that Mozart like carries himself as a person in this movie, because people have that idea that, oh, people during this time, like the late I think it's the late 1700s, oh, people in the late 1700s were all proper, only peasants acted like that. But no, even though Mozart was a very respected genius, he was a bit of a party animal. He was kind of like a Mick Jagger of his day.
I remember in a scene, he said himself, "I may be a vulgar man, but my music is not."
Oh yeah, I love that scene. There's so many memorable scenes in this movie. One line that always sticks with me is the line that the emperor tells Mozart after his first opera. There's just too many notes. Too many notes. That's the only thing wrong with your opera.
Too many notes. How about you put some notes down and start learning?
Yeah, exactly. But let's also talk about the actor who plays Salieri. What do you think?
Salieri?
Yeah, like basically the main character of this movie, Salieri, the guy who blames himself for the death of Mozart.
What are you talking about, Salieri? We don't have cards right now.
What?
Salieri.
You're thinking of solitaire, you dumb.
Yeah, solitaire. Solitary.
No, that's solitaire. Salieri, the composer.
Solitaire, right? The card game.
Dude, are you fucking with me right now?
How can I be fucking? I can't do that at this work ethic area.
Oh my god, dude, be for real. Don't do this shit with me.
I just want to mess with you. All right, we can continue on.
Dude, come on, engage with the fucking conversation. Don't be like that.
I don't want to. I feel different today.
Shut the fuck up.
I feel different today. Let's not.
Oh my god, dude. Are you being fucking serious with me? Do we really have to do this? Dude, come on. I'm trying to have a serious conversation.
All right. Let's go.
All right, but what do you think of Salieri?
I really like him. The backstory of him, like him saying, "I wanted to play music, but my father didn't let me, so I prayed to God to give me a sign to play music." Kills dad.
Yeah, that's a really great scene, and also like a very comedic scene.
Yeah, I loved it so much. That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah.
It's like, God, please give me a sign to play music. A couple of days later, dad dies by death. Yeah, him looks at dad, looks at God above. Thank you.
Gracias, signore.
Gracias, signore.
Yeah, and that's really one thing what I really like about this movie is that a lot of the scenes are very comedic. The movie doesn't take itself too seriously all the time, because there's a lot of scenes in this movie that are very comedic. Like one of the scenes that I remember is that when the emperor first meets Mozart, adult Mozart, Salieri has composed a welcoming march for Amadeus. And the king plays it, and Mozart walks into the room while the king is playing it. Later in the scene, king tries to hand over the sheet music to Mozart, and Mozart's like, "No, your majesty, I already know it. It's up here in my brain." And the king is like, "Show us." And he sits down at the piano, and then he plays the music, and he plays it well. But then when he gets to the end, he's just like, and then it just goes on and on. But how about this? And then he starts playing more notes. Or maybe a little bit of this, and he's like improving upon Salieri's music. And then like the comedy of that scene is just how...
once he started playing it, everyone just started looking at him.
Yeah,
started joining, like all the servants from the hallway came to the doorway to look in. It's like, who's playing this good ass music? The music earlier was fucking shit.
Exactly. And then it's just, but also like the way that the scene is directed, because the director really knows, the director Milos Forman, he really knows when to cut to certain reactions, because that's essentially what comedy acting is. It's reaction. So, you can't just have like a guy like doing wacky shit. You have to throw in a reaction of the people around him, because that's what really like sells the comedy. And yeah, and it's really good. Also, I like one thing about that scene. I also like, before we actually see that scene, we see Salieri writing the music at his home. And then, he's so proud of himself, and he looks up at his crucifix in his room, and then he's like, "Grazie, signore."
Yeah.
But then afterwards, after Mozart is playing the music and he laughs in his face, the and then,
oh yeah, I hate that laugh.
Oh man, Oh man, that laugh was created specifically for the play, and it's just something that they added to make Mozart even more like annoying. And it just makes, Salieri much more angry that, God chose this immature child to be gifted with these amazing abilities in music composition. And then, but going back, Salieri is back in his room, and now he's staring at the crucifix all angry, and he says, "Grazie, Signore."
And like very sad and disappointed, right?
It's very sad and disappointing, and it's so great. It's so great, the performances, and just like the editing of that scene. This movie is very well edited. I've noticed, like watching it this time, I've noticed that the editing is very top notch in this movie, because this movie is almost edited almost like a comedy. It's not edited like just like some big important like Oscar drama. It's edited like, kind of like a lively comedy almost. And I think that's one thing that makes this movie like really stand out. Also, I wanted to ask you, did you notice anything interesting about like the accents in this movie?
They're all French?
No, not exactly. So in this movie, a lot of the actors, they're playing like Europeans. So, Amadeus, he's supposed to be from Austria. The Emperor, he's also Austrian. Salieri is Italian, but they're not being played by, European actors. Like F. Murray Abraham, he grew up in Pennsylvania. Tom Hulse, the actor of Amadeus, he's also from the United States. So is Jeffrey Jones, the actor who plays the Emperor. All of them are American, and they don't speak with like, "Oh, sir, madam." They don't use,
oh
like,
my heavens.
Yeah, they don't use like thick accents, and they don't speak like, "Forsooth, art thou." They speak like very plain like English, and they use their regular American accents. Did you notice that while watching the movie?
I do not, honestly.
Because usually when you watch these like types of movies, like movies that take place like hundreds of years in the past, actors will put on like some kind of like accent to help sell like the world that they're living in. Like they're using an accent to help sell their performance. But in this movie, everybody's speaking in like their regular accent. And for some characters like Salieri and Mozart, you don't really notice it, but I notice it a lot with the character of Mozart's wife, who is called Stanzi in the film. Her actress, she speaks with like a very modern sort of way of speaking. I don't know if you noticed that.
I really have not noticed it at all. I just take it as just a regular movie. That's it.
Because she sounded like a regular woman from like the 80s instead of a woman from like the 1780s. You know what I mean? But I just find it very interesting that they decided not to like use like very exaggerated accents, and they just let the actors use their regular American accents.
Interesting. I must conduct research on this intended moment.
Any particular scenes that stand out to you?
Just the death march.
So was that your favorite scene of the whole movie?
Yes, it is. It's the most saddest, most great scene.
It's the emotional crux of the whole movie.
Yeah, I loved it, especially because of the meme. Honestly.
Well, the meme, yeah.
The meme is the really thing that I really love of it. Yeah. But in reality, the whole death march scene, it just shows that he has gone to his lowest point.
But even still, like in that scene, we still see that he's very dedicated to this music.
Yeah, he was very dedicated to the music and to his family at a point too.
Yeah, because in the context of that scene, so again, I mentioned that Salieri uses his political and his professional influence to sabotage Mozart. And Mozart throughout the movie is basically, he's getting like sabotaged in his career. Like he's not able to like take on students. The emperor becomes tired of him and doesn't want to commission any more operas from him. And then so he ends up later being contracted by Salieri himself to write a death march. And this is basically like Salieri's revenge. He's going to work Mozart to death writing this death march. And so Mozart is so consumed with like his alcoholism, his work in writing the death march, and also at the same time he's being commissioned by a friend to also write an opera for a vaudeville that his friend works for, and it's so just like very powerful, and it's very sad. Like that scene is so heart-wrenching to say the least.
If I was a normal man, I would have cried, but no.
You didn't cry?
Well, I didn't cry.
Well, very few movies make me cry, but I can definitely. But when I feel like a strong emotion, I really connect with like a piece of art.
I don't cry. I never cry to a movie.
Really?
Yeah, even romantic movies that I watch, I don't cry. I don't cry like emotional scenes. I don't cry.
Not even Titanic?
Oh, hell no. I don't cry.
Not even La La Land?
No.
Have you ever even seen La La Land?
I heard of it.
Oh, okay.
That's why I said no, because I didn't know it.
Well, someone doesn't have a fucking heart. Okay.
My heart is dead because of trauma and also the shit I go through. So it's very hard for my emotions to come out.
Okay,
I'm like Dark Souls. If Dark Souls had a body.
Okay, Sasuke, fucking Sasuke over here.
I'm not Sasuke. I don't seek revenge from
fucking
the
sad boy. Fucking
I don't
emo
seek
sad
revenge.
Boy here.
I don't seek for revenge. I just stay quiet and just watch. Make yourself into a fool.
All right then. But also one thing that I really like about this movie is the way that it uses Mozart's music. One way that it really uses the music well is the opera scenes. I really like the scenes where they portray Mozart's operas. And they take the time to portray, well, they take the consideration to portray different types of operas that Mozart composed. So yeah, so Mozart composed like all different types of operas. He composed like very dark and serious ones like Don Giovanni, or he also composed like very lighthearted ones like The Marriage of Figaro. And also one of the operas that I like in the movie is The Magic Flute. Have you ever heard of The Magic Flute?
Only from the movie.
Well, yeah, so The Magic Flute, it's also one of Mozart's most famous operas, and it's one of those operas that's still being performed to this day in opera houses. And that one scene, the scene where they show the aria of the Night Queen, that one song where the lady is going,
yeah.
Exactly, that one. That piece, the Night Queen. Stop, you're being cringe.
Well, you were doing it, so
I know, but I was doing it as an example.
I wanted to join in.
Oh my god. But
I'm a joiner, not a bugger.
Be a leader, not a follower. But seriously, but the Night Queen's aria got very popular on TikTok a few months ago, and I just kept like on my For You page, I just kept getting more and more like TikToks and reels of people performing that like in public and stuff.
Reels? I didn't know this was for realsy.
Exactly. And yeah, so but you've never heard of The Magic Flute?
And no, only from the movie we watched.
Because actually, one thing that's very...
I really liked it. I really liked the Magic Flute music.
Yeah, I really like the opera too, because I like how it's really like fantastical.
Mm-hmm.
Like they say in the movie, the more fantastical, the better.
The more fantastical, the better.
Yeah, so like the Magic Flute, yeah, it's one of those that just keeps getting performed over and over again till this day. And also, what was very interesting very recently this year?
What happened? Did they change the music of the flute?
Well, in Los Angeles, they did an adaptation of the Magic Flute, but instead of the regular characters from the opera, they switched them out for characters in the Mario universe. Exactly. Are you done?
It's me, Mario.
Oh my god, shut the fuck up. But yeah, but in Los Angeles they recreated the Magic Flute using Mario characters, and I actually learned about this because one of my followers, one of my mutual followers on Instagram, she's a musician called Miss McG, and she went to this performance and she posted it on her story, and I was like, what the fuck? This is fire. And then she like messaged me back saying like, yeah, this seems like something you'd like. And it's pretty cool that that even still today, Mozart's music and operas are still being used to this very day by actors and musicians alike. But
and some of them being used by memes.
Exactly, and it's very cool. But speaking of the operas in the movie, which one of the operas was your favorite in the movie that they portrayed? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go. I need to think about it. Okay. I need to remember the name.
So one of the operas that I really liked the way that they portrayed it is, I know that I was talking a lot about the Magic Flute a little bit earlier, but the one opera in this movie that I really like is the Don Giovanni scene.
Oh, the one that the one that has the black guy.
Yeah, the spirit.
Angel of Death.
Well, he's not an angel of death. He's the spirit of a dead commander.
Oh, the dead commander. Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Commendatore.
Yeah, okay, yes. I like that one too.
Yeah, and because I feel like that opera really, like, that's the crux. Like, that's really like the thesis of the movie.
Sorry to continue.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
There's one thing that I noticed from his operas.
Yeah.
He used his real life inspirations for his opera.
Exactly.
Because if you remember in the movie, his father came out and he opened his hands and welcomed his son. And in his opera, he got the guy to do it as well, open his hands.
Yeah, that's a very neat little callback that he uses. And yeah, and then that's what I also like about how the movie uses Mozart's operas. They use his operas to like really like inform us like what he's feeling. Early on in the movie, when the king first commissions an opera from Mozart, Mozart wants to set the opera in a harem. He and he shocks basically like the king and the king's court. They're like, you can't set an opera in a harem. And then but he's like, why not? It's about love. and he does that because at the time, he's just going around fucking around, so he probably has like sex on the mind. And then later, like when he does the Marriage of Figaro, he does that after he gets married. And then Don Giovanni, he writes Don Giovanni because he's grieving the death of his father. And then like the Magic Flute, he's doing that because like his life is basically like turned upside down, all topsy-turvy, and so he doesn't know what's like the difference between like real life and fantasy and nightmare.
Real life or fantasy.
Exactly. Like I like how like the operas, each opera like reflects like his state of being, his character at the time.
He's basically telling his life story throughout his operas.
Exactly. He uses his art to express something that's in him. And I think that's one thing that makes Mozart such a great and enduring artist. But let's talk about like Salieri. One of the things that I feel about this movie that makes this movie like, stand the test of time, it's the theme of like jealousy. The theme of like being jealous of other people's gifts or being mad because you weren't given like certain gifts that you pine over or that you wish that you had.
It's like you do a job that you do very well, then a new recruit comes in, he does your job exactly the same but better.
Yeah, and because like also like think about Salieri. Salieri, he worked his way up, he made all the right connections, but still he's not like this amazing badass music composer like the way that Mozart is, because Mozart just has this natural talent. So think about like that in like the age of like social media and like content creators and influencers. Like, because like, like everybody nowadays, they want to get like 1 million hits on their video, or they want to get like 1,000 followers or hundreds of thousands of followers. And, like a lot of people starting out, they always get like angry saying like, oh, why does PewDiePie have this big audience? All he does is scream at video games, or Mr. Beast that. But they never stop to think about myself like, oh, my content is shit. Oh, I could do better with my content. Maybe I need to grow as a creative person.
It's the thing is for the modern stuff and also for back then, a lot of people just want to copy the person that is more better and successful so they can be better and successful.
Yeah.
But in reality, if you do that, you're just being a copy of that person. You're no longer yourself in that sense.
You're not yourself, and you're just trying to like leech off of like other people's success.
It's just like all of the you already mentioned Mr. Beast. He has a lot of copycats. Yeah. A lot of people trying to copy his content, and there's a lot of them that does that and continue on. But later on, if you want to change, you can't really change the mold that you place yourself into. Because if you want to grow as a content creator, you cannot just stick the mold that you are in of copying somebody else. You need to branch out. You can copy the content of that person, but you have to give your personality into it. Because if you do not give your personality into it, your content will just fall in despair. It's just like in this movie, Salieri wants to be better than Mozart, so he sabotaged Mozart of his art and everything, but still loves the content he creates and still supports him, but he does it in the most unjust way. It's like in content creating, like a lot of people copy Mr. Beast and trying to sabotage Mr. Beast by saying, hey, you did this, oh, you use this without my permission, oh, yada yada yada. It's like, it's like the pettiness. Like you love the content he's creating and you copy his content, but you're also sabotaging his livelihood, his life that he created himself, all the hard work he did for himself because it's natural to him and him alone. And you guys are, and then the people that are copying him, just like, oh yeah, we're gonna copy this guy and then we're gonna get a lot of content and yada. But one day you're gonna lose all your viewers because it's like, we already saw Mr. Beast do it. Why we need to watch someone else do it again? But with their friends and their buddies and all that. So in reality, if you keep continuing copying somebody, in the end, when you need to change your content to something else, people are just not gonna show up no more because it's not the content you've been molding yourself into. It's something so difficult that you cannot change out of it, that you cannot leave the content that you've been copying this entire time.
Yeah.
So it's very important that you have your own personality into it. It's like us. We are a studio, a Match Cut podcast studio. We are copying the sense of podcasting like everyone else is doing, but we have our own little twist of personality into it. Like how we both talk to each other, we argue, we have moments of each other, of a Twilight scene we will not mention. We have our little twist, my little funny goof moment of him trying to be serious, me want to be goofy. We have that. We have that. There you go. You see, perfect example. We have that dramatic flow to make it more natural, more upbeat, more fit. It fits because if we are both different people and we're trying to copy other people we are following, our dramatic duo will not fit because the personality we're trying to copy will not resent us from the what we're trying to do right now. Because if I go by like for example, if I try to copy Markiplier and my co-host try to copy
Joe Rogan,
our personalities of the personalities we copy will not work together.
So Jamie, pull that up.
No, the bite of 87. So it's very important to always copy the people you like, but do not copy them to the very T. Copy their content, but put your twist into it.
Yeah, and also don't hold yourself to the same standards as other people, because in the movie, that's I think the big problem with Salieri. He was always constantly holding himself up to this ridiculous standard that Mozart had, and in the end it ended up destroying his mind and also destroying basically destroying his whole sanity, because he always kept comparing himself to Mozart. You can try to set goals for yourself to achieve something similar, but don't always be so obsessed with attaining that same success.
From watching this movie, what I came up to my own conclusion, Salieri being jealous
Salieri
or Salieri, I'm gonna call him Salieri, whatever I want to call him.
All right, just finish your point.
So to my point of view of his being jealousy of Mozart, it's him being jealous of something he wants, even though he really has it. Him trying to be better, him to focus on art and art only, is because of his blind assumption of God giving him that opportunity. But when Mozart came in, he became extremely jealous of what Mozart has, of natural talent of the music arts. For him, he really has a grand title in the emperor's court. He really has the influence and power to do whatever he wants with his music. He's already at a good point. But Mozart, he sees it as a threat of him losing that, of what he was given by God himself. And saying that Mozart is a child of God, because that's how he portrayed Mozart is. A child from God that's talented with music.
Well, that's what the name Amadeus means. Amadeus literally means love of God in Latin.
Understood. So him being jealous of Mozart over the whole period of his life, ruined his life and everything, and him ending up just insane, is because he didn't realize he really had a good position, that he didn't need to worry of his position at all. Mozart could have been just a good opera creator, good music for everything, and he could have been famous on his own right. But for him, he took it as a threat, at some sense. which makes no sense to me because he really has the title and the influence and everything, and the emperor of his time liked him a lot, that he kept him.
Yeah.
And he still played music, and the emperor loved his music and also loved Mozart, but there was one scene that really made sense, that the emperor really liked Salieri.
Play Salieri.
Is when he created an opera.
Yeah.
And the emperor gave him a medal, which he carried with him throughout the whole movie. So on the beginning of the movie, he had a chain. It didn't show the medal he had, and then when he talked to the priest, he had the chain again, but this time showed above of the symbol he had. And then in the movie, it showed that he had the chain, and then at the end,
it shows that he's still stuck in the past.
Yeah, he's stuck in the past. He's stuck on thinking that he was threatened of Mozart.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like stuck in the past, and also like at the end of the movie, like he basically like has like kind of like a mental breakdown where he's going around like the asylum telling the other patients, I am the patron saint of mediocrity. I absolve you, my son. I absolve you. And then at the very end of the movie, like the last thing we hear is Mozart's laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's got so stuck. That's the same thing in content.
He's just constantly being tormented by the past.
Yeah, it's the same thing in content creation. Like, you cannot stick in the past thinking you cannot do what other people can do. If you get stuck into it, you cannot improve. You cannot continue growing.
You'll never grow as an artist. You'll never grow as a content creator.
And I really like that because this movie really opened my eyes of that happening, because I see it all the time into people want to create something. They get stuck in the past thinking that they're not that great because this content creator does it more better. I'm trying to do the same thing like him. It's not working that much anymore because they thought if they do it as well, they get insta hits. But in reality, that doesn't how it works. Yeah,
because there's no emotional content. There's no soul behind the work, and I think that's what people really connect to, is the emotion and the soul behind somebody's work. And they're just not going to connect with something just because something's popular. There needs to be something behind it to make people connect with your work.
And that's a lot of what people having struggles of content creating. I see a lot of new content creators copying other people, like, oh, I'm going to play games and I'm going to be extremely famous. And like, all right, let's play this game and I'll get extremely views and get money for it.
Or I'm going to be super racist and misogynistic.
And then I get famous for it. They're like, no.
I'll be the next Andrew Tate.
It's like, once seeing this movie, it really popped open because of us. Because we started doing content creation, and then we wanted to have the same idea. And our videos didn't get that much views. But now, because we continue going, improving upon ourselves.
It's just persistence, just being persistent and growing with each failure and each success.
Yeah, because if you guys notice, my co-host has upped his editing on all the past videos. If you see our first video, it was plain, and then our second video, it was plain but a little bit better, and then he improved upon it over and over again, because later on he started using game footage from myself, because I told him, hey, why you don't have any game footage in the background so they can listen to us and we'll see something going on in the back. So he said, yeah. So we start doing that as well. He improved on his editing. I got content for him so he can use. Like, it's all about what you can do to make your content better and entertaining. And that's what I think a lot of first content creators did not understand, is that you cannot just record something and just post it just like that. You had to give some personality into that video. You can't just
personality, structure, and then just like a good presentation.
You had to have all those key elements to make a good, successful video. Why you think all the famous YouTubers, PewDiePie, Markiplier, and Jacksepticeye has that personality? It's because that's the personality you want to have in their videos. If you guys see, some editors have friendly relationships with their editors, and they request things and make it into a little skit. Like Markiplier, he had his editor, I forgot his name.
Just get to the point. Don't worry about his name.
So Markiplier has a relationship with his editor, and sometimes his editor makes edits to have.
Yeah, because we're not here to promote other people. Just get to your point.
Yeah, so his editor makes little edits and skits with Markiplier, and Markiplier says all this during recording while he's recording. So when Markiplier may say something, his editor makes little skits from that. And like for a random thing, he says like, smack me in the face, Nixon, smack me in the face, smack me, or just cry, and he just like, okay, smacks him in the face, leaves like a bruise on him, like perfect, and he just continues on with it. Like the relationship of the creator and the editor making that skit happen is because they have a bond that they just want to make it more funny or more like, oh yeah, I can do that. Oh yes, yeah, I can do that. Because there's a lot of people that just pay the editor just to do a certain thing and they just do it. But what makes the video great is where you have like that little.
Wait. What does this have to do with like Mozart or classical music?
I don't know. I just went off topic for some reason.
Yeah, dude, you're going. You're going way past the target over here. It's like, what the what? No, don't fucking laugh. It's like, what the fuck? Why are you talking about other people's like relationships with their editors?
No, like I'm talking about creation in general.
But what's the point?
Oh my god!
Why can't you keep your thoughts like more succinct?
I don't know.
Like you're talking about. No, I'm not gonna leave this alone. It's like, why the fuck are you talking about fucking Markiplier? This isn't like the dick sucking.
I had a point, but you made me forget it. You made me forget. I forgot. Okay, I honestly.
What do you mean you forgot? You're just fucking rambling about fucking Markiplier's fucking editor. I don't give a shit about his fucking editor. He's not our editor.
I know.
I fucking do the editing.
I know.
I fucking edit this motherfucker.
I didn't talk about something. I went off topic talking about creation and as a whole to make it successful. That's it.
But I was giving you a chance to come back because like, what the fuck? Why are we fucking talking about fucking Markiplier? Like this isn't even part of the fucking movie. Yeah, but you're like going like
God. My God, I was making an example of creation in itself. I wasn't talking about.
Fucking I was going how fucking Markiplier fucking.
Oh my God, I was going.
I don't
shut the fuck up.
Fucking Markiplier edits his fucking videos. I don't give a shit about his fucking videos. Oh my God, I'm here to talk about Amadeus.
Okay, shut the fuck up. Let me explain. I was going off topic about creation.
Yeah, but you're going way too much into like because you were almost gonna go like, oh, and then Markiplier gets up in the morning. He has a bowl of cornflakes.
What the fuck? I'm just saying like the connection of editing and making the video perfect.
But where the fuck did we get into like editing? I know that you were like giving me like, what the fuck? Why are we talking about editing? Like, what?
Okay, you could just cut this out if you want. Jesus Christ.
Because like the conversation went like so far left field because
I know
how am I gonna cut this off? Because you started off giving like a pretty decent speech, but then like, what the fuck?
I don't know. My mind just went somewhere.
Dude, do you not want to talk about Amadeus?
I don't know. I do. I love the movie.
Yeah, but we'll talk about the fucking movie. Don't talk about fucking Markiplier. This isn't the sucking off Markiplier hour. We're not here to promote Markiplier. Markiplier doesn't need our help.
I just went off field, okay?
Yeah, but Jesus, dude. What the fuck?
I just went off field. Okay?
Like, do I do this when we talk about one of your fucking animes?
I don't know.
I try to keep the conversation on topic.
I know. My mind just went off.
Jesus Christ, dude. Holy moly.
My mind just went off. I don't know why.
Yeah, because like, what the fuck? You were just like fucking like, whoa, dude. You were just like fucking like out of left field with that shit. Like, what the fuck?
I'm sorry. My mind just went somewhere. I don't know why.
Okay. Okay, but let's end it there. No more talking about.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why. I just
you know what? You're not allowed to talk about content creators anymore.
Aw, sad.
Shut the fuck up.
Just like
shut the fuck up.
Just like your pal Ross. All right. Anyways.
What?
Reference you don't know. All right. Anyways. Continue on.
Anyway, let's get back to Amadeus. So
sorry about that, guys.
So I think we talked enough. I think we talked enough about like the story and the themes of the movie. Let's talk a little bit about like the behind the scenes of Amadeus.
Oh, you know what I really like in one of the scenes?
Tell me.
Is when he went out to party and he played a little music, little thingy music.
I love that. Yeah, the little mini piano. Yeah, I love that.
I like that because he just played music in the most weirdest way to make it challenging for him.
Yeah, like, like the party guests were like holding him upside down, and then, they were challenging him, saying like, "Oh, play this composer, play that composer," and then he's
And
like,
then he say too
"Nah, too
easy,
easy.
too boring.
I don't like him." And then Salieri, he's like behind, like he's in the crowd wearing a mask because it's a masquerade party, and he's like, "Play Salieri." And then he's like, now that's a challenge. And then he just plays like Salieri's music while making, dumb faces and sticking out his tongue, and everybody's laughing at him. And Salieri, like, it cuts back to like present day, and then he's talking to the priest, and he's like, "Go ahead, laugh at me." But it wasn't Mozart who was laughing at me. It was God.
Oh my God.
I love
dramatic.
that scene. Oh my God, that scene is so good.
Also, I also remember you telling me that there was a reference of another famous musician.
Yeah, so in that scene, so before Mozart is making fun of Salieri, Mozart is playing the piano to entertain the party guests. And so in the movie, in the scene, it cuts to a little boy like leaning on the piano, admiring Mozart. And so the scene heavily implies that the little boy who's listening to Mozart is another famous composer. Can you guess which famous composer makes that little cameo there?
I do not remember the name, honestly. I'm a brain dead.
Ludwig von Beethoven. Da-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na.
Ah.
So Beethoven. So in that scene, it's heavily implied that the little boy is supposed to be Beethoven. So around that time, it would make sense that Beethoven was a little boy. And also, I don't know if you knew this, Beethoven was a student of Salieri.
He was?
Yeah. Salieri was one of Beethoven's teachers, but also Beethoven was heavily inspired by the music of Amadeus Mozart. And it really shows, because Beethoven is also like one of those creators that your normal everyday person would probably name. Like if you were to ask them, "Hey, name a famous composer," they will either say Mozart or Beethoven. And it's pretty cool. Pretty cool that they added that in the scene. It's pretty nice.
Oh, how nice.
But let me talk a little bit about like the behind the scenes of this movie. So this movie actually has some controversy. Well, two controversies. So the first controversy is that a lot of people criticize the movie for not being historically accurate, which is true. Because in reality, Salieri, there is no evidence to suggest that Salieri had like a deep hatred of Mozart. If there was any kind of rivalry between Mozart and Salieri, it would be just like a strictly professional one. And it is known that Salieri did appreciate and respect Mozart as a composer, but there's no connection between them being like rivals or being enemies. Where that comes from is that there was a rumor that was started after the death of Mozart that Mozart hated Salieri because a lot of what we know about Mozart is through the letters that he would write to his wife and to his father. And in a couple of letters to his father that he wrote, he blamed the Italian composers that the king had for sabotaging his career. And Mozart was very angry at the Italian composers, saying that they didn't know music, that they were shit musicians, and all this kind of stuff. And so a lot of people, because Mozart hated the Italian composers, a lot of people kind of like put two and two together and kind of made up this rumor that Mozart hated Salieri because Salieri was like the emperor's like number one composer. And also later in life, Salieri, he did go crazy. Well, not crazy. He got dementia. As an old man, he had dementia and he was starting to lose his mind. And he would go around yelling that he was the person responsible for killing Mozart, which probably wasn't true, but it was just like him just suffering through a severe mental illness. And so people just kind of started this rumor that Salieri was jealous of Mozart and that he used his power and his influence to sabotage Mozart's career and end Mozart's life. So that's like the number one controversy with this movie. So this movie really is more historical fiction than historical fact, which for me personally, I don't mind because I like the story that they're telling and I like the themes that they are exploring with this movie. So I don't care if this movie isn't 100% factual. Like, what about you? What do you think? Do you think it was all right for them to like change the story up like so much? Because of rumor and because of fiction?
For me, I really don't care, but for me, I like they have like actual facts in the movie. if this actually happened in real life, then okay. But if they change it a little bit just so it makes the flow better, then yeah, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, I'm okay with it because I don't really see this movie as like, oh, this is like the factual true story of Mozart. No, this is just a movie that's taking these well-known people in history and using them to tell a specific story. Because if you want to learn more about Mozart, you can Google Mozart. You can look up his music on Spotify or YouTube or whatever, and you can learn more about the actual person. And then, but you can also watch this movie as just like a piece of entertainment or a piece of fiction. So that's really like the number one controversy with this movie. Also, another controversy with this movie, and I actually have something right here to help illustrate my point. So the version of Amadeus that we watched was the director's cut. Did you know
what?
That? Yeah. So
it's the director's cut?
So the version that's available on iTunes and basically the version that's available to buy legally is always the director's cut of the movie.
Whoa. What's different with the director's cut and the real one?
Okay.
What happened? Tell me what happened.
All right. So the director's cut of the movie actually runs for about 3 hours. So the runtime of the movie is 3 hours for the director's cut. In the original cut of the movie, it was only 160 minutes. So it was only about 2 hours and 40 minutes, the original cut of the movie. So in the original cut of the movie, we did not have the scene where Mozart was teaching his first and only student. So there's a scene in the movie.
Oh, I love that scene because it really shows the unprofessionalism in that scene because he was trying to find work and nobody wants to work with him because of the rumors that Salieri said.
Spreads
about him. So when he finally did get a student, they say that, okay, we'll let you teach our daughter, but we have to be present and we're going to be having our dogs. And Mozart is like, that's not preferable. I prefer we are alone so we can practice.
Or at least quiet.
And then every time he tries to play the music, the dogs go, "Hoo!"
Yeah, and
the parents are like, shut it down, boy. He always howls when he hears keys of music. And like, all right, come on, continue playing. And then it's like, the daughter's all nervous because she can't play properly because the parents are watching. And then Mozart's trying to get them to leave so they can play. And then the whole thing is just so bad for Mozart because that's unable to play music properly and teach music properly. It really irritated me to see the whole scene going down because it really shows how unprofessional it was to teach someone, because that's not a proper way to teach someone. You have to have a quiet place where the student is comfortable to play music without making fun of or being told to play a certain way, because the way of how to learn is to learn from experience and learn because you want to learn, not because you're being forced and being watched to do it.
Yeah, but that scene is not in the original theatrical cut. That was one of few scenes that was cut down for the theatrical cut. Also, there's a very famous scene in near the, not the beginning of the movie, but more towards the midpoint of the movie, where Mozart's wife takes his sheet music and goes to present the sheet music to Salieri to be considered for the job of tutoring the emperor's niece in music. And so she goes to visit Salieri, and then Salieri decides to help Mozart only if Mozart's wife would sleep with Salieri. And there's a scene.
Oh, yeah, that scene.
And there's a scene in the movie where like Mozart's wife goes to visit Salieri and begins to undress. And we actually get a brief shot of her undressing, and we actually get to see her breasts. And so Salieri becomes uncomfortable, calls for his servant, and he has Mozart's wife escorted out of his house.
And that was very embarrassing for her, and she started hating him at that point because she thought if she did this, Mozart would have a job, but in the end it was all in vain.
Yeah. And so that scene also got cut from the movie, and because that scene got cut from the movie was given the rating of a PG rating. So the original cut of the movie was rated PG, while the director's cut is rated R. not just for the scene where Mozart's wife undresses. There's also a couple of shots at the beginning of the movie where the priest is walking through the asylum and you see some of the mental patients like running around screaming naked. That was also trimmed out of the original cut of the movie. So you don't see that in the original cut of the movie. And so actually, so the director's cut is the only cut that's available to purchase legally since like around 2002, I believe, because that's when they released the first version of the DVD.
So when the movie, that's the time where VHRs were now being outdated. VHS, sorry.
Yeah,
VHS.
So when the movie was first released on DVD, that was the first time that the director's cut was released. But the DVD did not include an option to either watch the theatrical or the director's cut. The studio did not include the original cut at all, which, you know, sometimes movies do that. Sometimes movies do like a director's cut, but you can also have an option to watch the theatrical cut if you like that. Some movies and some directors don't allow you to do that because they're dicks. Like George Lucas, the director of the original Star Wars. You can't watch the original cuts of Star Wars since like 2004, I guess, because George Lucas did a similar thing with the original Star Wars trilogy where you can only watch the special edition, not the original cuts. Same with Amadeus. Amadeus, you can only watch the director's cut legally. And the only legal way to watch the original cut is if you buy the VHS, the original VHS, which I have.
Which he has holding right now.
Yeah, I'm holding it. I'm literally holding it in my hand right now. It's the only way that you can watch the original cut legally.
Tap it in the microphone so they know it's real. There you go. There's some noise for you. So it is real. He has it. And we have seen the DVD version of it. But I really wanted to see the original one to see how different it is and how the flow of the movie it is. Because the director's cut, I really loved it. I really loved the whole thing.
Same here. I also love it as well.
But for me, I really wanted to watch the original cut just to see how the flow and how the story tells it.
Yeah, exactly. I guess, you know, if you know how to do it, you can probably download like an HD copy from like iTunes or whatever and then just edit it down and then you'll have like an HD copy. But, you know, that's like your average person is not going to do that to watch the original copy. I don't know why they can't just like pull out an old film reel of the original cut, scan that, digitize that, and then release it on like 4K or something, like on iTunes or like on Blu-ray or something. But yeah, that's like another controversy that this movie has. But also, like, this movie was also kind of like a tough movie to get made at the time when it was made, because this movie came out in 1984. And at the time, movies about classical music or movies about, like, you know, the 1700s were not popular movies for Hollywood. So Hollywood was very hesitant to release this movie. And actually, this movie was actually not released by one of the big studios. Do you know who was the original studio that released Amadeus?
I do not.
The original studio that released Amadeus was one of the mini majors. It was released by Orion Pictures, who was also the studio that was responsible for the Silence of the Lambs and the RoboCop films.
Oh.
And so they weren't a big studio at the time, or they weren't connected to like a big studio. So Amadeus is kind of like an indie film. And Amadeus for the time was made with a somewhat of a low budget. It was only made with $19 million to the budget. And the movie doesn't look like it's a $19 million movie. It almost looks like it's like a $50 million or a $90 million movie. You know why that is?
Why?
Because a lot of the movie was shot in the Czech Republic. And in the Czech Republic, they have like a lot of streets and a lot of buildings that still look like the buildings that were made in the 1700s.
Were they abandoned buildings or were they still being in use?
No, they're still being used. Like they were never like, say, like remodeled like completely. Like so a lot of the shots where like Mozart is walking through the streets, and like a lot of the shots when they're in the opera houses, those are like basically like the original opera houses where these operas were first played, because there was barely anything like changed about them. And so the production was able to save a lot of money by shooting in the Czech Republic at the time. And so, yeah, and then also like good directing and good editing also make this movie look more professional and more polished than what it truly is. And also one thing that the movie did that I find very interesting is the choice of actors. And so let me ask you this. were you familiar with any of the actors who portrayed any of the characters in this movie before you watched this movie?
No, I have not.
Yeah, because the two main characters, Salieri and Mozart, they're played by relatively like lesser known actors. So Salieri is played by F. Murray Abraham. Are you familiar with any of other of his works or any of his other roles?
I think I'm wrong. Was he in The Lighthouse?
No, he wasn't. You're thinking of Willem Dafoe.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So Salieri is played by this actor named F. Murray Abraham, and he's mostly known as a character actor. He's hardly ever like the star of the movie or the star of the TV show that he's a part of, but he's always good at playing like a supporting character. Like
he's an American Idol known for his roles on stage and screen. He came to proclaim for his acclaimed lead role as Amadeus in the drama film Amadeus, for which he won...
Yeah, he won the Academy Award for Best Actor
and the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor in the Motion Picture Drama, as well as a BAFTA Award nomination.
Yeah. And so Salieri's actor, F. Murray Abraham, he's mostly known for playing like these smaller supporting roles. So he'll usually play like the boss of the main character, or he'll play like the teacher of the main character, the father or the grandfather. So he's known for playing like those kinds of roles. So Amadeus was like his one like starring role because essentially Amadeus is not really that much about Amadeus. It's more about Salieri, and Salieri more or less is the main actor. And so he's mostly known for playing smaller roles, but Amadeus was like his one shot of being a star, the leading man. And and it was quite successful because we mentioned that he won multiple awards for his portrayal as Salieri. But also Tom Hulce. Tom Hulce is also an actor who's probably like, your average everyday person will not probably recognize, they won't recognize that name. But at the time, Tom Hulce was like an up and coming young actor, because before this he was the star of the comedy movie Animal House. So that was very different from Amadeus. Amadeus is like this kind of classy Oscar winning movie, and Animal House is this raunchy sex comedy from like the 70s. And so
an American actor and a theater producer. He is best known for his portrayal of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart in the Academy Award-winning film Amadeus.
Exactly.
He also had a role of Larry Pinto in Animal House, Larry Buckman in Parenthood, and Quasimodo in Disney animation film The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Hunchback of Notre Dame. What the fuck?
Notre Dame, including the Emmy Award of the Hindi Chronicles, a Tom Award for Spring Awakening, and Academy Award nominated for Best Actor for Amadeus, and 4 Golden Globe nomination.
Yeah, so Tom Hulce is like
this boy is everywhere.
Well, kind of, yeah, because Tom Hulce, he got nominated for Best Actor for Amadeus, so he went up against F. Murray Abraham, who played Salieri, and ironically, it was Salieri who came out on top in that situation. He had a pretty fruitful career afterwards. He did appear in a lot of movies, but he kind of sort of retired after he played Quasimodo in Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which was kind of his last big professional thing that he did in Hollywood, because afterwards he moved on to become a producer for theater. And Tom Hulce is also responsible for helping Green Day produce the stage adaptation of their album American Idiot. So that's one thing that he did after he retired from acting. He moved into producing. So he has a very kind of weird sort of career, because Amadeus is probably the one role that people know him the most for. And maybe people my age might know him as the voice of Quasimodo in Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame. But he kind of retired afterwards, and it's not really sad, because he still worked in other things that he was interested in, but it just seemed he kind of just he probably maybe wasn't getting the roles he was expecting after Amadeus.
So was okay, so from the characters you were talking about, the actors, they seem very low key. They didn't want no famous actors in this. Were there was it the whole purpose for this movie is to not get famous actors? So they were oh wait, is that actor from this and this? Oh hey, is that actor from that place? So they really wanted actors that didn't had a following behind them.
Exactly, because F. Murray Abraham, before the movie Amadeus, he was mostly known for his performances in theater. So like most normies wouldn't know who he was by just the name alone. The biggest thing that F. Murray Abraham was in before Amadeus was actually he was in a movie the year before Amadeus. Can you guess which movie he was in before Amadeus?
No, I do not.
He played a small role in the movie Scarface with Al Pacino.
Scarface?
Yeah, he played a Cuban drug dealer who was a rival of Tony Montana in Scarface.
Ah.
So that was probably like his biggest role before Amadeus. And like I mentioned before, Tom Hulce, like he was mostly known for the guy in Animal House, but Animal House was an ensemble movie, meaning he was just one character out of many characters in the movie. So he wasn't like the star of that movie.
Gotcha.
And so the director Milos Forman really did not want like name recognizable actors in the roles of this movie. Because do you know who auditioned originally for Amadeus for Milos Forman?
Who?
Mark Hamill. Does that name ring a bell to you? Use the Force, Luke. Mark Hamill portrayed Luke Skywalker in the original Star Wars trilogy.
So you're telling me they almost had a Star Wars character in it?
A Star Wars actor, yes. Well, they actually did have a Star Wars actor in the movie.
What, they did?
Yeah, do you remember that one scene where they're at the parody, they're watching the parody of Mozart's Don Giovanni?
Yeah.
Do you remember that there is a big horse, a big fake horse, and on top of the horse is a little person actor playing the parody Commendatore?
Yeah.
Do you know who that actor is who's playing the parody Commendatore?
Don't tell me that's School like Skywalker himself.
No, that's not Luke Skywalker. What the fuck? Luke Skywalker's not a little person. No, that actor, the actor who's playing the parody Commendatore is Kenny Baker, the actor who was inside the R2-D2 costume in the original Star Wars trilogy.
R2-D2 was the horse?
No, he wasn't the horse. He was the parody Commendatore.
The guy on top of the horse.
Yeah. You know, he's like the one who says, Don Giovanni.
I need to see it again because I didn't got a good look on his face.
Yeah, so the movie did have a Star Wars actor in the movie, but Milos Forman did not allow Mark Hamill to be in the movie because he just couldn't look past him being Luke Skywalker. Because in his mind, he was just like, audiences are just going to see Luke Skywalker. They're not going to see Mozart. And so that's one of the reasons why Mark Hamill did not get the chance to play Mozart.
I kind of wonder if the actor who plays Luke Skywalker it talks about it too. Like, you know, I also auditioned to Amadeus. They didn't take me.
Apparently, Mark Hamill also auditioned for the voice of Ren from Ren and Stimpy. I heard something like that one time.
Really?
Yeah, because after the Star Wars movies, Mark Hamill moved in to doing more voiceover work, and that's like the kind of work that he did for like many years because he was the voice of like the Joker on Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, which one? Which one?
Batman the Animated Series, the one from the 90s.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, and then he was also the voice of Hobgoblin in the 90s Spider-Man show. And he was also the voice of Fire Lord Ozai in Avatar The Last Airbender.
You're really?
Yeah, Mark Hamill was the voice of Fire Lord Ozai. So he basically played the Darth Vader role in Avatar.
Oh, that's so cool. I love the Avatar series.
Yeah, so he's a very prolific voice actor. Like, you know, he really knew how to continue his career after like he wasn't getting like roles in live action movies. So yeah, so that's basically like, you know, a little bit behind the scenes of the movie.
No wonder I like the Avatar so much.
Yeah, Avatar has a lot of great actors behind the voices of the characters. I also really like Uncle Iroh. He's played by this famous Japanese actor known simply as Mako, and he's an actor who's been in things like Conan the Barbarian, Aku and Samurai Jack, a lot of things.
Did he not pass away?
He did pass away. I think he passed away like in 2007 because I think the last thing that Mako did professionally was the voice of Splinter in the TMNT movie from 2007. And then later Avatar and Samurai Jack had to hire a sound-alike to finish the roles of those characters. So unfortunately Mako is no longer with us.
Well, yeah, because I remember one episode from the Avatar, they gave a goodbye farewell to him.
Yeah, because they dedicated an episode in his honor. And I think it was the episode called Tales of Ba Sing Se, and they dedicated the episode to him.
The original show was about Iroh's son, and he's saying goodbye to his son.
Yeah, that's the Tales of Ba Sing Se.
Yeah, so it just shows that he's mourning his son of the animes, but we're also mourning for the voice actor that played Iroh as well.
Yeah, because I think he died of cancer.
Yeah, he did. It did. When I searched it up, he said he passed away because of cancer.
Yeah.
I didn't check what type of cancer. It just said cancer.
Which is very sad. But I think that's it for Amadeus. Let's give our final thoughts on what we think about the movie. So I'll just finish this off.
Wait. Can we go back? There's one scene. There's one thing I want to talk about for Amadeus. It's the cutaways of how the music like fades into the scene and then cuts to the music of the opera.
So you're talking about like the scenes where like, well, for example, there's one scene early on in the movie
when he gets yelled at by
by his landlady.
By landlady, yeah. And then her yelling and screaming cuts up to the opera.
Yeah, so we see this scene where like he's being yelled at by his landlady, who's also his mother-in-law, and she's yelling at him, calling him selfish and a child. And as she's screaming at him, the camera like doesn't zoom in, it like tracks in on her, and then we get a cut of Mozart's reaction, and then the music starts to drown out her yelling, and then the music becomes like the opera singing of the actress playing the Night Queen, which is a really good transition. I also like that one scene where Salieri is reading Mozart's music for the first time.
And the music cuts in, and then when Mozart takes it away, it just cuts.
Yeah, it abruptly cuts.
I love that. I really love that. Like the music goes in,
really
he's
good
listening
sound
to
editing.
it, all of it, and then the second it got taken away, instant cut. No fade off cut, just instant.
Yeah, it's a really good way to like, I guess not visually, but it's a good way to like incorporate music into a scene, because that's really something I don't really see. I don't think I've ever seen that done in like any other like movie or show before. Maybe because, you know, a lot of movies aren't about like making music, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So going back to it, I really love that because to us, to people who doesn't understand music, when they see the notes of music in the paper, we don't hear no music. But for a musician who plays music and understands the music notes, hear it in their head before they even play it out. Because what I heard is you must hear the music in your head how it needs to be played, then play it. If it comes out the same way, then you're playing the music right. If it's not, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So I love that they give us how musicians see the music notes, how they hear it in their own head.
Yeah, because this movie actually has been praised by musicians, saying that there is not one wrong note played in the movie. Like every time, like when they describe a music note, they always play it correctly. So that's actually one thing that makes the movie great, is that no note is misplaced and no note is played incorrectly.
Also, what really brings it up is when Mozart and Salieri was finishing up the Death March.
Oh yeah, that was a very interesting scene,
because when Mozart was explaining to him how to write down the notes, he goes bum 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 bum, and then he does it with his voice. He goes bum 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 bum, and then repeats, and then when he writes it down, you hear the music actually playing, like the
music correlates with what they're doing. Yeah, that was also a really.
I really love that, because when it shows that Mozart is telling them how to write it, and we don't hear it, but when Salieri writes it down, he hears the music. That is like the world of how they hear the music themselves, because musicians hears the music while they write it down. Because if you see, I remember a scene when Mozart was writing something down, he goes back to it. Oh no, not him. Salieri, when he was writing the march for Mozart, he goes back to it, going and like ding 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 ding, and then writes down again, then plays the music again, ding 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 ding, and then writes it down again. It's like that's how musicians play music. They play it out, make it sound right, and then put on the notes. to make it better, like ding 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 ding, and then they write it down.
Mm-hmm.
I really like how Mozart is telling him how to do it, and when he writes it, they play it in their head so they hear it correctly.
Yeah, but that's also like the tragedy of Salieri. Salieri is smart enough to know what Mozart is talking about, but he's not smart enough to replicate it like the way that he does. Like, and that's like the tragedy of him, because he understands the genius, but he cannot be a genius himself.
No, it's very sad.
Yeah.
It's like when he's writing the Death March, he's writing his own Death March as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because
ironic.
Yeah, ironically, he was writing his own Death March as well of the genius that he's helping create, but he cannot recreate that genius because he doesn't no longer have the genius to help him create it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why this movie sticks with people. People connect with like the themes and the lessons that the story that the movie's trying to tell.
Yeah, I really loved it because for Mozart, he just needs to write it down once. Mm-hmm. No corrections, no nothing, and he got it perfect. For Salieri, he has to write it down, play the music, change it, and rewrite it down, and then play it again to make it sound good. Like, it shows the difference of skill of each person. One that is talented and does only need to do it once, and one that needs to practice over and over again to make it perfect.
Yeah, and because it's almost like that scene is almost kind of like seeing like sort of like Batman and Superman like teaming up together.
True.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a really good scene, and I think, God damn it, I love this movie so much. This movie's a 10 out of 10. The directing, the acting, everything is perfect for me. Like, this is a 10 out of 10 movie for me.
And for me, I know I don't give it out that much. I give it out a 10 out of 10. And it's really hard for me to give 10 out of 10 to movies and animes. If you've seen our podcast, I give it low ratings. And I also give it my feedback from when I was young from some animes. But this movie was really a 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. Well, my lovely co-host, so now that we've given our thoughts about Amadeus, let's tell the audience what we're going to be reviewing next. Roll, please.
Okay. The next thing we're going to be reviewing is The Wise Man's Grandson.
The Wise Man's Grandson.
If you guys already know about this, it's about a boy being saved by an old man. Later find out that he's a famous magician, and he taught this kid that he found all the magic stuff. But a plot twist, this kid was only taught about magic. He doesn't know nothing about common sense. He doesn't know about money. He doesn't know about where to go do things. So it's going to be a very big thing of seeing this boy with no common sense showing his magical prowess. And it's also quite wholesome as well. So hope you guys enjoy this.
Common sense isn't common. All right. So if you want to join us for our discussion about that show, make sure to check it out before next episode. So you, my lovely co-host, where can the lovely audience find you on the interwebs?
You guys can find me in Twitch. My name currently right now is Dragon9073. I had a name I wanted to change it to, but someone already has it.
Creep.
So, yep, creep. So now I had to come up with a new name. Hopefully I can come up with it new and this name now really soon, so I can stop using that cringy name, because I just put it down just for fun. I start doing Twitch just for funsies, but now that I really enjoy doing it,
serious, boys.
Yeah, we're getting serious now. So I want to change that to something more professional. More like, oh yeah, is this guy? Not, oh yeah, that's Dragon numbers. So very soon I'll be changing my name, and it will be something you guys will not have to say Dragon for, because that's very common.
Okay.
So and also, if you guys do show up to my streams, just to let you guys know, I do not stream during the day because of work. I try to stream on the weekends because the weekends are the days that I can actually stream.
You can cream?
I can cream. Yes, I like creaming up a lot. I like putting cream on my food. I like putting cream on my drinks, especially coffee.
Cream in my lovers.
I love. Yes, I like creaming it up.
I like to put cream in bussies.
Oh yes, the cream is everywhere.
Just pussies.
I'm just gonna
just pussies.
Just everywhere. Just gonna combust. I'm just gonna combust like a TNT explosion, twice.
Okay. All right, guys. Also, make sure to check us out on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and all the social medias. Links will be down in the description. And also, if you're watching us on YouTube, links will be popping up on the screen. Thank you for joining us for our review and discussion of Amadeus.
So hope you guys have a wonderful day and have a fantastic rest of your afternoon or wherever time you're watching this. If there's any episodes do you want us to watch, any shows or animes you want us to watch, just leave it down in the comments. We will put it on the list.
Give us subscribe to us to follow us for any new episodes.
And also, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. And sorry for my rant earlier. I don't know what happened earlier that time.
Yeah, dude, you need to get your fucking head in the game.
I'm sorry, my brain just went somewhere magical.
Well, yeah, my fist is gonna go somewhere. My fist is gonna go somewhere into you.
Pleasurement, I see. Pleasurement, I see. Don't give me a sexy time. All right, anyways.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Don't tempt me for a good time, baby. All right, anyways. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and see you guys next time. Bye!